Honorable Men Discord, Black Excellence, Julian Brown. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, who is Julian Brown? I came across this guy, or I should say this young man, while I was looking up material, and apparently he made a homemade machine to turn plastic waste into usable gasoline, excuse me. And there was a point in time where I guess he was no longer posting and people were worried about him and they thought maybe something may have happened to him. But he recently popped up at the Invest Fest out in Atlanta to speak on his invention. So I'm going to play that plus some other videos and I'm going to talk about it further. All right, so let's get straight to that video.
Invest Fest, Atlanta. Listen when I tell you, I've created my own gas station that turns plastic waste into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. What I do is I implement microwaves, which are powered off of solar, to then turn plastic waste into fuel with my machines. It works through the process of this. Plastic is made of petroleum. I want you to think about plastic as the solid form of petroleum, just like how ice is the solid form of water. You put plastic inside of a chamber that has no oxygen or has no air inside of it, and then from there, the microwaves will heat up the plastic and break it apart on a chemical level, but it can't catch on fire because there's no air or no oxygen, and a fire needs air to exist, right? So without air, the plastic instead breaks down back into its petroleum components, into petroleum vapor. And that petroleum vapor can then be condensed back into liquid petroleum, just like how water can turn to steam and condense back into water like rain. We're condensing the crude oil vapor back into crude oil liquid. And now that crude oil liquid is just like crude oil. We can put it in a refiner and then get gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel out of it.
Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Humanity, you gave me $30,000 and I gave you my heart. You gave me your faith when I disappeared, and I gave you my promise that I would never quit and never give up. And now we are here after 5 years of hard work, 8 months of back-breaking upgrades and labor. It is the last time to run the world's first solar continuous, say it with me, microwave pyrolysis reactor, baby. Mark 4.5. We are here. And when I turn this machine on, it will be history. Not only because it is an invention and the first of its kind, but because this is sending a message to the world, letting the world know that we are done. It does not matter. We're not going to wait on some big corporation, some big government to do what needs to be done. If we need to do it ourselves, we would do it ourselves because this is our world. This is our earth, and we care and we protect it. And we protect and care for each other too. So, without further ado, desde mi corazón y mi alma, vamos. We got the vacuum pulled. It's time to turn on the magnetrons now. We are now operating at full power. At full power, absolute capacity, we are consuming 12,000 watts. It's happening. Look at that. It's happening. We all know what that means. Oh my goodness, take a look. There's the oil, everybody. Now is the moment that will make or break this machine. We are about 2 hours in. Now it's time to load in plastic while the machine is running. Now that we have this loaded with plastic, we'll close this valve and then close this valve, pull a vacuum on the thing. Vacuum is being pulled on the chamber. We are now opening this chamber. Oh, look at that. All right, we'll turn on the blades. Beautiful. That's literally exactly how I want it. Just like that. These blades spinning, plastic falling in while the machine is on, while the machine is hot, while we're still making fuel, baby. The world's first solar continuous microwave pyrolysis reactor. I fed in the plastic from up here too fast, clumped together. That's what happens. That's why we had to employ this really sophisticated auger blade system, because plastic, especially under these conditions, loves to just get staticky and clump together. Fortunately, I think I could fix this, but not while the machine is running. Humanity, you gave me 30.
All right, what I don't have is he's used this fuel that he's made out of recycled plastic, and he gassed up a Rolls Royce. I believe it was a convertible. He started the car on empty, so he had people try to start the car while it was empty, and then he went and he poured his fuel into the gas tank of a Rolls Royce, and it started up. He also did it in Atlanta with a Dodge Challenger. I believe it was a Hellcat, if I'm not mistaken, but he did it with a Dodge Challenger. Same results. They tried to start it while it was empty, and then he put his fuel in, and it worked. So those are things you could look up. I don't have it queued up right now because I just wanted to get straight to him in his element. As the second video, first video was him at the past InvestFest, as I mentioned before, in Atlanta. So just to show you what he's achieved and how he's exposing it, how he's introducing it to the public. Now, I just want to say this because I've noticed this in the comment sections of other material that I had queued up initially. This is not new information to the world. It's not a breakthrough as far as this has been done before by other inventors of the past. But the reason why I even showcase this as Black Excellence is because he's doing this all on his own. You know, he showed you in the previous video, I believe, it was this video, that he had a GoFundMe for support so he could buy the material to make this equipment. And allegedly he's doing this all on his own, and for that reason alone it's impressive. It's impressive that he thought this thing through, and he's still thinking it through. You see how he pointed out that there was a portion of the machine where the plastic tend to clump up, and he said he wouldn't be able to address it while the machine was running, but he would address it when the machine was off. You know, his brainstorming, if you will, when it comes to this technology is remarkable. And as an outsider, I'm impressed, which is why I'm showcasing this on this channel. I personally would be wary to stand next to this equipment because I would be afraid that because it's not properly sanctioned, it's not like he's working with a team, I would be wary to stand next to it because I would think it would explode. That's just me. But I'm not knocking him. I'm impressed by his mind, and I think this is just one of many things that he may be developing, and it's remarkable. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. But yes, he did not create this first. It was done before, because I noticed that there's some people that didn't want to give him credit in the comment section of other videos that I had queued up, and they like pointing out the fact that he wasn't the first to, I guess, take away the light that he's shining. He may not be the first, but he's doing this on his own. You don't see a team behind him. He's doing this somewhere in a backyard, and that's still impressive in itself. Anyone who could could figure this out and put it together with their own equipment on their own to me is impressive. All right, and this last video is him sitting down speaking on the politics of the business when he was maybe considering getting a patent on this. All right, now. As a matter of fact, this is the video that this is one of the videos that I just mentioned. The person above me said he also ain't patent because he didn't invent this. It wasn't some unknown process or something like something that he came up with on his own. This is something that's been done before. It's not economically viable, and it's definitely not environmentally friendly. Now, I don't know how true that is. If that is the case, that's probably why it hasn't been implemented. And as brilliant as it is, I wouldn't want it to be implemented on a large scale if it's not environmentally friendly. But with that being said, that's no knock on him. He still has a brilliant mind, and so it still remains that it's enough reason to have an episode to bring light to Julian Brown. Also, one thing I'll say to that person who seems to want to point out that he wasn't the first to create this, just understand, not that it makes it right, how many other inventions are out there that is destroying the environment, destroying the ozone layer, and it's legal. All right, I know we're trying to transition to electric cars. Not a lot of people are embracing it, but the common cars that we drive on a day-to-day basis is polluting the atmosphere. And I'm not saying that to condone technology that's further damaging the environment. That's not what I'm saying. But just understand that there's other things that are destroying the environment. Factories and the fumes that they release into the air is destroying the environment. It's destroying the atmosphere. So let's not point the finger at Julian Brown, this young man who's in his 20s. Let's applaud him and hope that his young and brilliant mind will create something of value in the future, not just this. All right.
I very intentionally do not have my technology patented.
Why?
Because the patent industry is actually very corrupt. I learned this because I, at one point, was patent pending. And then one day I went to a Rotary Club meeting and I spoke with the inventor of the wireless key fob for cars. And he told me, GM stole my stuff. And I said, well, you have a patent, didn't you? And he's like, yo, I have like 70 patents. And I've been to every country on Earth almost. I'm like, so how'd they steal your stuff with the patent? He's like, because a patent doesn't mean anything to big players. All a patent is a means for you to go to court and say, hey, they infringed on my patent. But when you're in court, that's a whole different story. Now you're in court, and now you have to prove to the judge that they infringed on your patent. Now you need to fight their lawyers. Okay, you're an inventor, you came up with something, and you're fighting this big industry that has billions of dollars, and they can just go to court over and over and over again and take you and fight you and fight you and fight you until you have no money left. So even though you know they stole your thing, you can't prove it anymore because all they have to do is keep rebutting it in court over and over again. They have the funds to do that. You don't, because you're not GM. You're not whoever, you know? And so he told me, he's like, the truth is, if you want something to be yours, because when you patent something, it becomes public knowledge. It gets published on the patent directory. Mm-hmm. I know that because I literally looked up patents for pyrolysis reactors to get inspiration to build mine. So that means anybody on Earth can look up your patent and see how it was built, how it was made, and then make a copy, make a few changes, and then say it was theirs. And then you can go and fight them, but that takes time, it takes money, and then at some point, you can't do it anymore. You're trying to invent. You're not trying to be you know what I'm saying? Like, you're an inventor, not a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Not trying to fight people in court for the rest of your life. So he told me that, and he's like, the key is really trade secrets. Think about it. He's like, Coca-Cola did not patent the Coca-Cola formula. Why? Because if they patented the formula, everybody would know it. Even though nobody can copy it, everybody would know it. And you best believe they'd copy it. Because guess what? In China, there's no patent law. It just goes to, that's why we have Chinese knockoffs of everything. They have no patent enforcement in China and so many other countries. So he's like, and guess what you had to do? You had to go and get a patent in every country on Earth. You know how much that cost? So much money. And then you had to renew it.
Yeah,
and so you paid all this money that could have gone into your actual invention to get the patent, which means nothing because they'll just go and take it and copy it. Then you have to spend money fighting them in court. And then I heard this story from inventor after inventor after inventor, and they always said to me, trade secrets are the key.
What's trade secrets? You just don't tell anybody.
Trade secrets are things that you have that nobody knows. And I have a few trade secrets on my machine that nobody knows. That you can look at my machine on a video camera and not know these certain particular material sciences or where
He's up here with details.
Exactly. But I have another play. So there's this thing called public domain. Once you have something published online for over a year, nobody can patent it. All my machines are public domain. Nobody can patent any of my machines because they've all been visible in the public for over a year.
And that's because you're putting them on social media.
Exactly. So that saves things because now there's no way a company can come and just shelf it, patent what I made, copy it and shelf it and hide it. But then here's another approach I'm doing. I'm like, I do have trade secrets that I have, yes. The truth is, you will always have copycats. That's what it is. That's just how the world works. That's just how the market works. The key is being first to market. I very intentionally do not have my technology.
Smart guy, smart young man. Another one who, a detractor who took time out to downplay his brilliance. This man's name is Devin Crane. He said, dude doesn't have a patent because the technology he quote unquote invented has been around for decades, and he's laughing. Just let this be an example of, even when you're trying, you're taking steps to do something positive. All right, he wasn't the first to do it. Why do certain individuals take time out of their day to log on to leave a comment like that? It bothers them so much that this young man has created something that many of us can't create. Even if it was done before in the past, years before, years prior, it's still something to applaud, just knowing that his young mind did this on his own in his backyard, pretty much. It's still something to applaud. And like I said, this probably won't be the last thing from this young man, which is why keep your eyes on him. Again, his name is Julian Brown. Salute to Julian Brown, and hopefully in the near future you have more amazing technology and inventions to share with the world. But that's all I have on this episode. What's your thoughts of what he has done? What's your thoughts on what he said about the politics of getting a patent? I know it comes across as discouraging. It would be discouraging for me to hear that. That's not the first time I heard about the politics and patents, by the way. I heard that from a separate inventor, separate video, separate content. But this is the second time I'm hearing that there's issues and flaws within the patent process. And it's discouraging. And it just shows you that how many other brilliant minds are out there that are unable to be properly exposed to the public because they have to go up against the giants of the industries. And this is why you can't always go based on what you see out there in the world or what you see in your textbook, because they don't necessarily want to show the brilliant minds of the black and brown. And then you end up growing up thinking that all we do is play sports and create music. How many other brilliant minds are out there like Julian Brown? How many other brilliant minds need to witness and experience Julian Brown to know that, hey, I can do it too? He's got his hair twisted and he's brilliant. Brilliance is not just being clean shaven with a suit. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. That was an old saying from when I was coming up. I believe that was in a commercial, but it really is. And Julian Brown, I salute you once again. What is your thoughts on Julian Brown? What's your thoughts on this invention? I'd like to hear from you in the comment section. As always, I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and stay honorable.